Hello, Internet! Welcome to Bot Theory. Not as good as Game Theory, but we're doing our best. Recently, the second Golden Bolt tournament finished airing, and so many fans were excited to find out which Cinderella story would come true, and it's endgame again. Fascinating. But the entire finale was incident-packed, from Gary Jin's emotions to Wheels going on strike, and even Shreddit Bro dressing up as a buy round for Halloween, before disappearing into the smoke, never to be seen again. However, the biggest talking point of the episode was undoubtedly the semifinal rematch between SawBlaze and Tantrum, where the current champion dominated, then threw it all away until he was saved by the horn. Excuse me, can't you see I'm in the middle of something? But should he have been saved by the bell? Was the countdown off? Is magic a cat? All those answers you seek are right here in one place. We've done the research, found the facts, and crunched some numbers. A lot of numbers. And our findings really surprised us, so stick around and be surprised as well. First off, let's establish some facts, like how long was left in the fight when the countdown started. Well, by looking at the clock. No, not that clock. This clock. This is the box clock. It's the one that everyone can see in the moment because it physically exists. This is a clock edited in for TV viewers. It doesn't physically exist. It cannot be seen in person. As you can see in this still frame, the two clocks are slightly off. The edited clock is slightly behind by about 0.17 seconds when seen near the middle of the fight, and about 1/10 of a second during the end. Until the last second, where both clocks hit 0 at the same time? Strange. Almost like the edited clock isn't real and cannot be trusted. Also, notice the exact moment when the horn sounds. As soon as the clock's display reaches full zeros, off goes the horn. Meaning, when it shows 0, it doesn't mean that there's half a second left or even 0.9 seconds. There's literally 0. Why is that important? Well, because that means whatever number is displayed is actually rounded up to the nearest whole second. For example, when the clock shows 1 minute remaining, that means there's anywhere between 59.01 seconds left or 59.99 seconds. So in this fight, when the edited clock shows 11 seconds remaining when the countout begins, it means the actual time has to fall between 10.01 and 10.99 seconds. The answer ends up being 10.23 seconds, from the first T sound in 10 to the clock changing from 11 to 10. Oh wait, that's the edited clock. The one we just found out is inconsistent and inaccurate. While we can't see the box clock in this shot, we can go back to when we do see it, add a stopwatch, then scrub back to the moment in question to determine that the countout started with approximately 10.19 seconds left in the fight. That's a big difference than 11.0. Next, let's look at the count procedure. For starters, the rules describe the process as a 20 count. Not a 20-second count, just a 20 count. Each count is designed to be approximately 1 second, but being exact isn't expected. The first half of the 20 count is silent, as the referee waits to see movement while moving their arm rhythmically to keep the time. The second half of the 20 count is the verbal countdown from 10 to 1 that we all know. Now, how long did it take for the ref to start a 20 count on SawBlaze? Well, by putting a quick stopwatch timer over the clip, we can see that the referee, John Ramar, waited approximately 7.2 seconds before verbally warning Jameson go. With that sentence, the 20 count begins. There's no specific amount of time listed for when the 20 count should start, just that, quote, if the referees determine that a robot is not responsive, they will perform a 20 count. Also, because SawBlaze can normally self-right from this position, it's perfectly reasonable to wait a few seconds to see what happens, especially because he hadn't suffered any significant damage before this. And waiting to begin the 20 count may be required for different reasons, like if a bot is caught on a hazard, or if the opponent is still attacking. On top of that, the TV episodes will never be a reliable source of information, because the power of editing exists. We've seen in the past how dramatic moments like this are drawn out longer to increase the tension. Most notably in the Tombstone vs. Duck match from 2018. When Tombstone stops moving, it appears that they are given more time to show mobility than when Duck isn't moving later in the match. But if you look closely during this shot of Justin Billings saying, you can see that the clock reads 1 minute 31 seconds remaining. In the clip before that, you see the battle clock count down from 1 minute 30 remaining to 1 minute 20 and beyond. The same moment from two vantage points separated and restructured in post-production to increase the drama. In fact, this fight had two of those. Watch Duck's movements in this clip. He goes from the edge of the red square, around one set of kill saws, then over a second set. Moments later, he appears to make the exact same movement. These two reshuffled pieces of footage make it seem like the count took roughly 30.3 seconds to begin, when in reality it was inflated by nearly 6 seconds at least. So now we know that the count started closer to 10 seconds than it did to 11, that the rules call it a 20 count and have no defined time frame for starting a count, and the counts aren't designed to be exactly 1 second. But what about this specific count? If the verbal 10 count started with 10.2 seconds left, how did the clock run out first? It must mean that John's count was at least 1/10 of a second too slow, right? Well, according to another stopwatch test, John's countdown of SawBlaze, from the t sound in the word 10 to the last syllable of knockout, lasted approximately $11.4 seconds. Whoa, that's a huge margin of error. Surely this is something worth writing over, right? Well, not exactly. What if I told you that this was one of the closer counts? See, I went deeper down the rabbit hole and calculated the time elapsed for every countout in BattleBots World Championship 7 and Champions 2. 105 fights in total, and what did I find? Of the 3 BattleBots referees, John Ramar had the lowest average countout time, coming in at 11.44 seconds. David Sanfilippo had an average time of 12.06 seconds, and Catherine Godfrey had the highest time, averaging 12.60 seconds per countout. John's count wasn't slow, it was fast. In fact, it was the 19th fastest count of his 47 matches, and 22nd fastest of all 105 counts of all 3 referees for the entire 2022 filming season. It was faster than his median time of 11.5 seconds, and although it was slower than his mode of 11.2, John's times consistently fell around the range of 11.5 to 11.7 seconds. But while the count was quick in comparison to the data, it wasn't perfect. And in a moment when the margins were as slim as could be, that lack of perfection made all the difference. The truth is, a controversy like this was always brewing. With 10 counts averaging as 11 counts, it was only a matter of time for one fight to be in a photo finish situation and result in this. There have been close calls, like Mad Catter falling a second short in the lockjaw match with a close count of about 10.8 seconds. If the count mirrored the averages, he would have survived to the bell. In 2019, Tombstone was counted out against Rotator with 2 seconds to spare, but the count was under 10 seconds. Had it been equal to the 2022 averages, he would have hung on. And in 2016, Nightmare didn't quite reach the bell against Beta, but if he had, it would have been due to a count well over 12 seconds, which would have been worth an uproar. So, what does this mean? What do we take away from all of this? Well, we can clearly see from the evidence that there was no fix in play, like some have suggested. The count clearly didn't start at 11 seconds, and while the count was slower than a perfect score, it wasn't abnormally slow. It was just consistent with all of the other counts from this season. In fact, it was better than most of them. But it does bring to light a potential problem. While the referees do their best to be accurate, they're human, not stopwatches. Perhaps it's time to help them out a little bit by implementing a new procedure to help produce more accurate countout times and avoid potential conflicts in the future. After all, how ironic is it that a sport so big on technology holds so much pressure on a human counting? And also, if you're a bot that's losing by a big margin, maybe don't rely on an opponent mistake and a perfect countdown to save your bacon. But hey, that's just a theory. A bot theory. Thanks for watching. Please don't sue us, Game Theory. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos just like this. I was actually in the middle of a different project when this one came up, so hopefully the wait for that one isn't too much longer. But until then, take care everyone, and I hope you had a good time.